women. And I'm not like these other niggas who try to sit around and act like and try to pander to dark skinned people, especially dark skinned women. All right, because I understand that the black community is a matriarchy, and a lot of dark skinned men are just doing what their dark skinned mothers programmed them to do. All right, and we're gonna talk about my beef with dark skinned women. And don't get it twisted. I'm not saying that dark skinned men are innocent, cause them dark skinned niggas definitely owe us a fade. Like people like bodies have to drop for the amount of oppression that they put light skinned people through. But back to dark skinned women. And this is my beef with dark skinned women about how they try to project their insecurities onto everybody else. All right, they do it all the time. They project their insecurities on light skinned women, light skinned men, dark skinned men, all the time. And I was watching Sarge. Shout out to Sarge. Been watching him for a minute, but he was talking about this years ago, and he was talking about this many years ago about how dark skinned women would attack dark skinned men for how they perceive light skinned women, but it's the same way that they perceive light skinned men. For example, they'll ask dark skinned men, why do they prefer mulatto, what you call mulatto women, which is light skinned black women? Why do you prefer mulatto women over black women than dark skinned women? And they'll tell them it's because I think mulatto women are more prettier, they're more attractive, they have a more attractive phenotype, and they carry themselves completely different, right? And they're more feminine. And then all of a sudden you ask a dark skinned girl why she don't like light skinned dudes. It's literally for the same reason, that she views him as gay and soft and feminine. So you're attacking dark skinned men because dark skinned men perceive dark skinned men the same way you perceive. Hold on. So you're attacking dark skinned men because they perceive, light skinned women and light skinned people the same way you perceive light skinned people, which is delicate, soft, feminine. And if you're a dude, you're gay and all this stuff. So you're attacking him for the same reason, the same perception that you have. So it's mentally ill. And I wouldn't be surprised, which I'm positive, that dark skinned women teach their dark skinned sons colorism. Believe it or not. All right. Like you gotta understand that this mentality comes from dark skinned women. All right. The preference for light skinned women, it didn't come out of thin air. It didn't. All right. If you look before the crack epidemic happened, when black men of color were in the household, most dark skinned men were with dark skinned women. You rarely seen a black man with a mulatto chick. Most mulatto light skinned girls were with light skinned dudes. And I'm not saying that you didn't have that dynamic, but it was not it wasn't like 90% of the, like 99% of the population of that dynamic. But all of a sudden the crack epidemic happened, and dark skinned women are the face of the household, and all of a sudden they all prefer light skinned women, and now they're in rap videos being light skinned women are in rap videos being slutted out. That's not a coincidence to me. All right. So that's one of my biggest beefs with dark skinned women, is that, I know that the self hate of dark skinned men didn't just pop up out of nowhere. And I feel that dark skinned women purposely teach their dark skinned sons to seek after lighter. I feel like back in the days it was about telling their dark skinned sons to seek after lighter women in order to free up light skinned men. But it backfired on them because the light skinned dudes wasn't with it. They was like, nah, you take your black ass back over there. And it could have been that. Or dark skinned women's insecurities could have driven away light skinned men. Because when you're dealing with dark skinned women, they have so many fucking insecurities that they try to project onto everybody else. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you're a light skinned dude, they really gonna, light skinned person in general. But they do it to light skinned men too, where they would try to, they try to say if they even have even if they have a crush on a light skinned dude, their insecurities will get in the way, and it'll turn off a light skinned dude. They'll be talking about how his hair is a certain way, how they like it, and then they'll get jealous and they'll try to cut it, and then they'll call him gay, and like all this shit, and it's just their insecurity speaking. And by the time like light skinned dudes are turned off by that. You know what I'm saying? They don't want to hear all that. You know what I'm saying? They don't want to hear that. And I remember watching this TV show, this TV series. I don't remember. Somebody posted it. I gotta find out what the hell that TV show or series was. And basically, it's like, I don't know if it's CPS or whatever it is. Those people, they came to a single black woman's household. I actually posted on my YouTube, but they ended up getting copyright, so I had to take it down. They went to her household and trying to figure out, because she couldn't control her kids, her dark skinned kids. And they were it was chaos everywhere in the home, and they were making, and these are young kids, like babies, and they were asking her. Or what happened was, one of the kids called the other kids dark skinned, black, and ugly, and they so the CPS worker had to pull them away and interview, and they was making dark skin jokes to each other, insulting how their skin tone and how they looked. So they had to pull the kids to, they had to pull the mom first to the side and asked her, where did they learn this stuff from? Where are they learning, this colorism and this hatred and this hate speech from? And of course, the dark-skinned black woman lied, and she said she didn't know. So the worker went to the children and asked them, where did you learn that from? And they asked that when they responded, they said, we got it from my mother. They all said that. They pulled them back individually, and they all gave the same answer. So it wasn't society that was teaching the dark-skinned children that they were ugly and this, and the third. It was their mothers who kept implanted that in them and let them know that lighter was better, and light skin looks better and it's prettier, and dark skin was ugly. That was the mother who was doing that, and she was dark skinned. Everybody in the household was dark skinned. And it's funny because O'Shea Duke Jackson was talking about this, and he even said back in the days, his grandmother, who was dark skinned, literally told him not to bring no black girl home. Bring a mulatto girl home or a light skinned girl home. Go look at it, it's still up. But it kills me how these dark-skinned girls will sit up here and attack everybody and act like the self-hate of everybody just came out of thin air. But if you go and lust after Michael Ealy, it's not colorism. And that's why you notice a lot of dark-skinned women, they attack light-skinned dudes. Again, is because they feel like, in order to make up for the, they feel guilty about, they know what dark-skinned men are saying about them being colorist is true. All right, so they feel guilty. So what they have to do sometimes is attack light-skinned men to prove to them that they're not guilty. So because they know a lot of stuff is true, stuff about them being true, about them being colorist and raising them to worship light skin and stuff like that. That shit is true. And a lot of light skin, they also brainwash light skinned women to view light skinned men that way, as fag and gay and can't fight. But those are in their genetics, not ours. Being cowards and all that's in their genetics. To white people and being submissive to them and buck jabbing and cooning for them, that's in their genetics, not ours. And a lot of dark skinned women, they can be what you call malcontents, meaning they complain over everything. Everything can be going perfectly fine how she wanted, and she's still gonna find something to bitch and moan about. I remember back in the days how they were crying and complaining about how light skinned women were getting slutted out in the videos. They were video vixens. But when they put a dark-skinned girl in the video, she gets slutted out, which they really did. All of a sudden, you over-sexualizing her now. Like, it's like, dog, what the fuck do you want? And they also try to control light-skinned people with that shit, and it works. Talking about if you date another light-skinned person, you're colorist. It's like, bitch, if you don't shut the fuck up, like, why are you over here trying to dictate stuff to light-skinned people? And they try to do that to light-skinned men, especially in real life, but that shit don't work. That's why you notice these black bras, they always calling light-skinned dudes sassy, because they think they can boss us around how they do dark-skinned men. And that's light-skinned dudes. We be putting our foot up their asses in real life. Saying, no, bitch, you go boss around them dark-skinned niggas, and you ain't that damn cute to be talking to me like that. But that's what a lot of light-skinned dudes with backbones do. But yeah, they just malcontents. I even seen a post about how, this dark-skinned girl is claiming that she don't want to date light-skinned dudes because she don't trust them, and she feels that it's not genuine when they approach them, and it's just going to be a fetish. But she was just crying about that light-skinned dudes wasn't talking to her. And I was like, it's like no other group of women do that. A lot of these other groups of women take pride in being a fetish. Unfortunately, they do. You know, but when you fetishize them, whether you dark skin or light skin black, they cry about it. Light skinned women don't even cry about being fetishized by dark skinned men. It seems like they fucking love it. But it's like whatever you do, they always want to bitch and moan and cry about shit. It's just what it is. That's why a lot of people have to ignore them. They're like mental ill patients that you gotta ignore, or just tell the truth to their ass. It's just how they are. And then they always talking about how black men need to embrace their beauty, but these hoes don't never wear their natural shit. How am I supposed to? How are they supposed to embrace your beauty, but you walk around with a mulatto chick's hair texture in your head, or a blonde wig in your hair? Like, how the fuck black men are supposed to know what black beauty is when you won't even give them the fucking representation in the household? Like, that's the shit I'm talking about. It just kills me what they be doing. Like, everything they do is just a fucking contradiction. They get mad because dark skinned men call light skinned women pretty, but if you ask her about light skinned men, she describes them the same fucking way. She describes them the same way, and you probably taught them that light skinned women were pretty, and taught them to pick on light skinned dudes because they're pretty. You know what I'm saying? What do you think these dark skinned dudes ain't doing this for no reason? And then once, the only time they want to date a dark skinned dude is when he done got rich and went to the NFL. Now all of a sudden, you bitching and moaning about colorism and light skinned women and all this other shit. You say it's not. They don't want dark skinned men until they conquer a light skinned broad. Now all of a sudden they want them now. It's like, get the fuck out of here. You say, and they so hypocritical. They be wanting to fuck light skinned dudes, but don't, but feel threatened by light skinned women. And it's the same thing with the men. The men get their mentality from their mothers. Unfortunately. It has to be. Like, it just blows my mind. And I'm not saying dark skinned women are always wrong, because they are right about stuff, especially when they're talking about dark skinned men and their qualities, because of course they know their qualities the best, because their qualities come from them. You know what I'm saying? Like when they say, when they try to say that you got the same black man, of course she's not trying to shame. She's not trying to shame you from getting with black men. It's that she knows the men that she raised qualities better than you know them. Like, I seen a light skinned chick like that talking about, you just trying to get us not to date dark skinned men, which I doubt, but it could be that too. But she knows his qualities because she's the one who instilled them into two dark skinned men in the first place. So when you go get with a dark skinned dude and, she tell you that this nigga ain't no good, and then you have to find out, the hard way later, because you walk around with HIV now, it's because she already knows, because she's the one who gave him those fucked up qualities in the first place. But that's my top. That's just part one. I'm gonna make this an ongoing thing, but I'll see y'all in the next one.